Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale Star Wars Return of the Jedi figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look finally at the scruffy looking nerf herder himself, Episode 6 Han Solo. It's taken them years to get to this look for him, but he's here now. I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Star Wars content goes live. Oh, he's looking good on the front of the box right there. I'm so excited for this. For some people, their favourite character from the original trilogy crew is Chewbacca, or Luke Skywalker, or Princess Leia. Old Ben, even. We don't get to see much of Obi-Wan after A New Hope, but, you know, each to their own. For me, it's always been Han. I cannot wait to get him out here. As for the box art, up front, an image of the prototype, I think. Metallic foil Star Wars logo below that. Then a glossy wraparound banner, done in the Episode 6 color scheme with the Death Star in the background. Considering we never see Han on the Death Star in Episode 6, seems like a strange choice. This video is brought to you by Justin's Collection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to Justin's Collection.shop in the description. But I get it, this is the look for the wraparound banner they established a long time ago now for Episode 6 releases. They're just keeping it consistent. I can't fault them for that. On the side of the box, a full body shot of Han, and you can even see a little bit of his base down below. On the back of the box, nothing to write home about, warnings, legal information, and their store locations, as usual. If I had room in the display to have this behind Han, like as a backdrop, I'd so use it, because I love this shot. We've got Han off to one side, then up the top, dynamic framing going on. Green in the background, giving an Endor vibe, and the Rebel symbol behind Han. First in-hand impressions for the figure himself. So far, liking what I'm seeing with the outfit, but the head sculpt, we'll have to dive in deeper. I'll let my thoughts develop, then we'll come back to it. What we're going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. It's slim pickings, isn't it, when it comes to Han's accessories? We get some hands, his blaster, this thing that goes on his belt anyway, so not really an accessory, his display base, a log, and his Endor jacket. But the value, where I see it at least, is in the display base and the hands. We'll touch on the hands in a second. Let's start off with the display base first. The log is okay. Sculpt work is soft, paint is a bit muddy, and there's a seam line on this piece. There didn't need to be. This could have been a single piece sculpt. Let's get that out of here. The bottom part of the base is reuse. Is this the USB-C powered light up version? Absolutely not. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not sure why they've not given us the USB-C version of this base since Episode 6 Darth Vader, but anyway, maybe next time. Around the front, Star Wars and Han Solo on the nameplate. Then up top, all of this brand new sculpt work. They normally just put a textured decal on the surface in the middle of this base. I'm glad they didn't do that. The fine sculpt work for the moss and then the dirt, the ground, the little rocks, the tree at the back. We've got separate leaves for foliage. You could always heat these up and reshape them if you wanted. And removable rocks. The reason why they're removable is because you can plug the crotch grabber either into the front of the base, have it facing this way, so his leg can be up on this platform at the back, or you can pop it into the back of the base. You've got options. This is what I like to see. If you don't want a crotch grabber at all on the base, you can cover up both of those ports with the rocks. Going forward, more stuff like this, options, versatility with bases, a great amount of sculpt and paint and detail, that's what I want to see. More so part of his outfit than an accessory, his Endor jacket. This camo jacket is made of a thin, lightweight fabric, single ply, so it should hug the body properly. It's not going to be overly bulky, although there's wires down the front and wires at the bottom, so you can shape it once you pop this on him. We will discuss what he looks like wearing it a little bit later. I've never been a huge fan of the episode 6 version of the DL-44. If this was the only one we ever saw on screen, then yes, I'd be fine with it. But seeing as though we got this masterpiece in A New Hope, I can't help but think the newer one is a downgrade. The smaller sight, the lack of gold paint apps, the lack of brown for the grips, there's not even that gold rivet in the middle, the brighter silver muzzle flash hider thing. As you can see, it is a different sculpt compared to what they gave us with A New Hope, but I stick by what I said. I much prefer the blaster on the left. At least it is accurate, it's done in a matte finish, and there's some soft silver speckling over the top, but nothing crazy. Loving the silver paint on this, very shiny, and there's a black wash too. Is this a comms device? I think it's a comms unit. It was already installed on his belt right out of the box, and that's where it's going to go after this segment, never to be removed again. And lastly, a full array of brand new sculpts for hands. They made a very big deal about these new sculpts when they announced Han. They were using the same waxy looking ungloved male hands for at least 10 years, maybe longer, so they've finally decided to give us new sculpts, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see these again, to be totally honest. I wouldn't be mad at that. The detail is exceptional. The skin texture, the wrinkling, the muscle definition, the vein work, the painted cuticles, the detail inside the palms. The only complaint I have is why are his fingernails purple? Why did they do that? They could have just left them unpainted, put a semi-gloss finish over the top, painted the cuticles. That would have been enough to show that they're fingernails on fingers. You didn't have to paint them purple. Extremely odd choice. Does that ruin this entire piece for me? Luckily, no. It's small enough not to be a massive eyesore, but it's still strange. When it comes to gestures, 2 fingers splayed out open palm hands, but only one of these. 2 fingers curled in, the rest splayed out open palm hand for the right side. Then 2 different sculpts for relaxed open palm hands already installed on him right out of the box. I like this look better, with the fingers curled in more for the left side versus this. It's closer to what we were getting. There's still more detail, the fingers hang more naturally, but I don't know, something about the fingers being more splayed out doesn't look as good. And 2 trigger finger hands. Having the thumb sticking out, that's interesting. I don't think they've done that before, but it works for Han. And prying open the fingers to pop the blaster handle in there, you don't need to grab a hairdryer. The plastic is plenty soft. You can do that easy as. What we're going to do now is get Han Solo himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that, just the trench coat, and I've moved the eyes off to one side to give him some spice, some extra visual interest. Hot Toys, what are you doing to me? The head sculpt. It's controversial and I can see why, but I'm here for it. The proportions. The new hand sculpts, ignoring the purple fingernails of course, and the outfit. The tailoring is not only accurate, but it's made of material that fits the body well. It's some of the best tailoring that I've ever seen from them. They make it look easy, but nothing about this would have been easy getting all of the components to fit together and look accurate and in scale. They've done it. This, hands down, the best 1/6 scale Han Solo that they've made to date. They've only given us A New Hope and Stormtrooper Disguise for original trilogy Han before this, so He didn't have that much competition, but he destroys those two earlier pieces. Okay, I think they've peaked with Harrison Ford in 1/6 scale, up close and personal. That is a beautiful head sculpt. It's a 10. It's got to be a 10. For me, it is. I mean, how does it compare to the prototype? I actually think it's better. There's so much life in the eyes, the gloss finish, the way they've been painted. Then the detail with the sculpted skin texture, the wrinkling, the painted eyelashes, the eyebrows, the vein work on the eyes, the wrinkling on his lips. So much realism there. The subtle wrinkles on his chin, the scarring, the 5 o'clock shadow on his upper lip. No complaints with this head sculpt. The one thing that was throwing off the prototype for me was the hair. It looked like there was too much of it. Some folks said that he looked like he had a boofy wig on. I saw that with the prototype. With the final production piece, the hair has been drastically improved. You can see the flow with the strands and the part looks good. There's not too much forehead. There's not too little forehead. The improvements that they made, they took this head sculpt from an 8.5 to a 9 all the way up to a 10 for me. Now, it is a separate sculpt and neck, so there's a split underneath it. You can't see it. From most angles, it looks natural because Harrison Ford does have a relatively defined jawline, so 3/4 turn, not very visible. And thanks to the way they've sculpted the hair, it casts a shadow on the neck anyway. I don't think that's going to be a deal breaker for anyone, really. They've done that thing again underneath the collar with the jagged hair strands sitting on the back of his neck there. So it's a complete sculpt all the way down. It's not just a straight cut across the bottom, which they used to do back in the day. How do you all feel about the metallic finish for the hair? They've done this for the longest time and they've toned it down here. There's darker shading, there's a gradient effect, and there's also a black wash in the crevices. Some darker paint around the front for the fringe. But for the high spots right up top, you can see that metallic sheen. I like it. I think it simulates light passing through the hair. It adds some color back to it, but it's not going to be for everyone. Oh, and the skin tone and skin texture match between the sculpted plastic neck and the head is bang on. There's more detail for the torso, sculpted and painted underneath the shirt. You can't actually reveal it though because the shirt is stitched in place. We'll do the moving eyes in a second. Before we can move on to that, let's check out some head sculpt comparisons. Starting off with what was the gold standard, A New Hope. The skin tone is darker and more tan. The likeness I don't think is as good. No moving eyes. He's got this dead-eyed stare thing going on. And his hair is black where it really should be brown. Then we got this masterpiece of a head sculpt. It was surprisingly controversial. I didn't think it needed to be because it's near perfect with the smirk and the likeness to Harrison Ford is there. The hair is brown now instead of black. There's no ugly seam line. Still no moving eyes. And compatibility with other Han bodies, it didn't really want to pop on the A New Hope body without making the neck look very long, so it wasn't perfect. Now this is an obscure one, you might not have seen it. It's made by Enterbay and Medicom. You heard that correctly, Medicom and Enterbay, they collabed on an episode 6 Han, and this was the head sculpt. Likeness is there-ish. Detail is okay with the skin texture. I like the brown hair and that strand coming down the front for the fringe. Next to the Hot Toys sculpt, doesn't really compare. Still to this day, one of my favorite Han Solo sculpts in 1/6 scale. This is called the Space Tracker head sculpt, unlicensed. It's larger than the episode 6 one. No moving eyes, but it's got a killer likeness to Harrison Ford. The hair is more Empire specific versus Return of the Jedi, but you could foreseeably use this sculpt on the episode 6 body if you wanted. Anyway, enough head sculpt comparisons, let's do the moving eyes. The head is connected to the body on one of those clear plastic neck connectors, then so much access inside the sculpt, you do not need to use the tool if you don't want to. Moving the eyes off to one side, now this expression is starting to make sense. Let's pop this back on the body and discuss. You see that right there? That is a signature Han Solo expression. It looks like a one-trick pony at first, with the open mouth and the wrinkles up top. Tilt the head sculpt forward, he's more serious. Tilt the head sculpt back, he comes across cocky. I saw a comment online saying that he looks like he's worried he left the stove on. I can see that, depending on the eye position and the angle of the head tilt. There's no denying, I think at least, that this head sculpt with some side eye looks like $1,000,000. See, the versatility of this sculpt, you can play into that worried look. That could be something that you're after. Tilt the head sculpt forward, have less white showing underneath his pupils and irises. He definitely looks worried now. Back to looking straight forward now, but up. Tilting the head sculpt forward, he comes across pissed off. His mouth is open, he's telling someone off or saying something badass, but angle the sculpt cocky once again. This is something you're going to have to mess around with for a while to get the eye position and the angle of the head sculpt perfect. Right you are, let's move on to the outfit, specifically the trench coat. It's optional. It's so episode 6 specific, and I want this to be my Endor Han, so I'll be leaving it on him. You don't have to, you can ditch it. And underneath it, he's got full sleeves, as you already saw in the unboxing segment, because he comes packaged without the trench coat installed. Wires down the front, wires along the bottom, but you already know that from the accessory segment. Working pockets, and a strap at the back, held in place with a press stud. You can undo it, then the vents, they can be flared out so you can get more dynamic when it comes to posing. Thin fabric, the camo splotches, if you will, they look so accurate versus reference. I just looked up some pics of this jacket that I reckon they might have even screen matched the splotches for the camo. Underneath the jacket, he's got this black A New Hope style vest on, real working pockets once again, and underneath that, a cream colored shirt. If you were to ditch the jacket and the vest, then pop a blue jacket on, could you make this a Bespin Han? Yes and no. You can do it, obviously, but the shirt in episode 5 was white, and the belt buckle was different compared to this. I've got a hack for the belt buckle, which we'll discuss, but the shirt, you would probably have to buy a new one or bleach this to get it a lot whiter and closer to what we saw on screen. Unfortunately, in typical Hot Toys fashion, the belts, the holster, this thigh strap, it's all made of pleather. At least all of this is accurate. The doodads on his belt, they're sculpted plastic. We've got some real metal studs. Working strap on the holster that's held in place with a magnet, plastic belt buckles, quite shiny, and there's some speckling for weathering over the top. This clip that holds the comms device in place is made of metal, and it's quite a secure connection. I don't think that is going anywhere. So say you sort out the shirt, it's white, you've got a Bespin jacket, you just need that belt buckle. What's the hack I was talking about? If you've got A New Hope Han, this right here, believe it or not, is an accurate shape for the episode 5 belt buckle. That tells me that the costume designers or the costume department goofed and they accidentally put this on the front for episode 5 or flipped the belt or something. You could peel this off, replace the belt buckle on episode 6 Han with that, and it's around the back for A New Hope Han anyway. I don't think you'd ruin that piece by removing it. So you need to pry this one off, do some heavy modding to make that happen. If you want it to be super screen accurate, you will have to do that. The pants, they've got these piped lines down the front, then the yellow lines down the side, that's all screen printed. Nice baggy pants too, so they won't get in the way of articulation. The boots, just like the belts, they're pleather. You see this line right here? That is a perfect spot to hide a split cut boot design. And what's crazy about that idea is they've done it. They've used this exact style of boot with a previous release, and they've done it in sculpted plastic. Not for a Star Wars piece, but instead, Barber Stan Lee. I sold mine a while ago. I've ordered a new set of boots because my New Hope ones are starting to crack. When they come in, the next Star Wars figure that's wearing boots like this, I'll do a comparison and I'll show you what I mean. At least they've done away with the buckling at the ankles, and they've added some light weathering over the top. This being Endor Han, there should be more weathering. They didn't go as heavy as I was hoping. Even on the underside, there's some speckling, like some light scuffing, but some brown paint and some green paint just to make them look filthy as though Han has truly been stomping around on Endor really would have set them off. Time to remove the jacket, I think. See what that looks like. It's good, great even. But they went skinny with the arms so that when you pop the trench coat on, his arms didn't look too big and bulky, the trench coat wasn't oversized. They scaled them down, and that tells me that this piece was designed to be displayed with the trench coat on, so that's what I'm going to do with mine. The vest does have the A New Hope padded sections around the back, fits the body well, but this is quite ugly, the stitched section. I'm going to hide it with the vest, then pop the trench coat on, but this is an option if you want something more A New Hope style and classic. But taking off the vest, installing a blue jacket, could this be Bespin? Once again, ignoring the inaccuracies, the belt buckle and the shirt, but just as a proof of concept, this body, this head sculpt, Bespin jacket, let's try it. Awesome. Depending on the jacket you have for your copy of Han, this, believe it or not, was underneath the Hoth jacket for Sideshow Han. Just chilling there the whole time. It was there. So I removed the Hoth jacket, took the blue Bespin one off. It fits on this body perfectly. It's slightly large, but I feel like that's accurate. The jacket wasn't super form-fitting. It did have a bagginess to it. Once I sort out the shirt and fix the belt, this is going to be a killer Bespin Han Solo because for whatever reason, Hot Toys simply don't want to give us one themselves. I will be picking up a second Han. I'll be doing this permanently in the collection, rocking him as Bespin. So stay tuned, there will be a future Build-A-Figure episode on this. Back to stock now. I can't be the only one thinking about doing that custom. Picking up a second Han and popping on the blue jacket and whatnot. But you watch. The day we finish our customs, they'll announce an official Bespin Han. Even though we've been waiting 10, 15 years for it, that will be the day. We'll have finished the customs, we'll be happy with them, and then we'll get an official Bespin Han, mark my words. I'm not 100% sure that's actually going to happen, but I wouldn't put it past them. For a quick side-by-side comparison, is it time now for a 2.0 A New Hope crew? It might be. Better head sculpts, better paint apps, better likenesses, moving eyes as standard. That's a game changer. Seamless forearms, nicer proportions with bodies, sharper tailoring. All of that stuff would take the A New Hope figures to the next level. Seeing Episode 6 Han on the left next to Episode 4 Han on the right, I can't help but wonder what a 2.0 Episode 4 Han would look like. Seeing this new piece. The proportions on the left are vastly superior. The way the outfit hangs on the body, that looks natural, and you already know what I think about that head sculpt. At least height-wise, they've remained relatively consistent. Yeah, that's pretty special. Endor Luke, Endor Leia, Endor Han, the three standing together. It's always a special moment when you get to complete a team. We still need Episode 6 Chewie. We still need maybe some Endor Rebel troopers to battle the Scout troopers on the shelf. But these three, this is something I have been waiting. We have been waiting years for. They started something with Endor Luke and Endor Leia all those years ago, and now they finished it. Could they give us 2.0s of Endor Luke and Leia with moving eyes, a better head sculpt for Luke, and painted arms for Leia? Yes. But putting all of that aside, just admiring them standing together as a set of three. Freaking iconic. Going over articulation, starting off with Han's head sculpt. Ball joint at the base of the rubbery neck, double ball peg underneath the head, looking forward, combined to there. It springs back a bit, but holds position well enough, in my opinion. Looking up to there before the hair collides with the back of the neck, swivel, and some pivot side to side. Arms, will they be hindered by the jacket? Well, we're already off to a good start because they can sit completely flush down by his sides. Going up to there, unhindered, forward and back, very tight joints at the shoulders. Butterfly joint up there that also hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going past 90, thank goodness, because A New Hope was a single bend. Then for the wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel. Midsection joint, waist joint, crunching all the way forward, no padding to contend with. Going back to there, starting to stress out that stitch mark, so don't want to push it. Swivel, and some pivot side to side. Legs going forward to there comfortably. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee on ratchets, going the full way. Single piece pleather boots, double ball peg inside of them, good for forward and back, rotation, as well as ankle tilt. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. Hot Toys, we keep having to do this, you and I. Pleather. Why do you keep coming back to it? There's so many other materials that you can use for this. The belts, the holster, the boots, this thing underneath the collar for the trench coat, all pleather. Stop using perishable materials on your 1/6 scale figures. It doesn't make sense from a cost perspective. Just sculpt these things or use a wax nylon or something that's going to last. Stop coming back to pleather. The second annoying thing, I hope it's just on my copy, but that stitch mark right up front on the panel for his shirt is so ugly. Why does it look like that? It could have been a press stud or a magnet or hidden on the inside of the shirt a lot better than this. It's 2-ply fabric so you can stitch just the inner layer instead of having it be visible on the outside as well. The third annoying thing, the purple paint on his fingernails. I get that they wanted there to be a difference in sheen and finish and color between the nails and the fingers, but there's other ways to achieve that without having to paint the fingernails purple, Hot Toys. The first cool thing, onto some positives. The diorama base, it's compact, it's tall, it gives Han a height boost in the collection, helps him stand out amongst the sea of other Star Wars figures. It's unique, it sets the scene, and it's modular. You can move the crotch grabber around, you've got rocks that can cover up the ports for the crotch grabber. This, in my opinion, is a 10 out of 10 Star Wars base. The second cool thing is the trench coat. I didn't think I was going to like it. I love it. The cut, the color, the length, the thinness of the fabric, it all looks accurate to me and in scale to 1/6. Then we've got the wires down the bottom, the wires down the front, you can shape it, and this strap at the back that's held in place with a press stud so you can undo it if you find you need a little bit more freedom to move these panels around. The third cool thing, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not advocating for pleather boots. I would never do that to you. But at least they've done away with the buckling at the ankles. On the left, A New Hope, that looks awful. So bad. And the pleather is starting to crack on my copy. With the new one, the boots are a bit shinier. They still look accurate to Return of the Jedi, but now that buckling is a thing of the past. Wrapping up on the best 1/6 scale original trilogy Han Solo that has ever been released. Get this Han. Review over. I could leave it at that. But there's more to discuss. The head sculpt. It's got that worried look about it, depending on how you work with the eyes and the angle and whatnot, but you can work with it. It's a surprisingly versatile sculpt. You don't get a ton of accessories, but the new hands are great, except for the purple fingernails, but ignoring that, everything else spot on. The outfit, the tailoring, the accuracy, the wires in the trench coat are a godsend. They make it so easy to work with. And the base. One of my favorite things about this figure is the diorama style display base. It's small, it's not going to take up a ton of space in the collection, but it sets the scene beautifully, and it's modular. So at the end of this, I already said it one more time, get this Han. It could be another 9-10 years before we get another one, so if you've been waiting for Han Solo, now is your time to pounce on this. I've popped a link to Pop Collectibles in the description where I got mine from at a discount, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.